Chapter 2, Missing Haunts. Oh, well, that's a good way to start. It was well after midnight for sure. I should be in bed, but nope. I was sitting on the back porch, staring up at the starry sky, feeling very, very small and scared. This is starting to become a habit. I'd almost made it to the woods again in the middle of the night. It was the third time already this had happened. I was becoming more and more convinced the sleepwalking wasn't just a normal sleep disorder. There was something strange about these incidents. Forget that I'd never in my life had issues with sleepwalking, but during every episode there was this eerie feeling of being pushed aside and forced to observe someone else controlling my body. And only with great effort was I able to regain control and wake up. I wasn't even sure I was really sleeping per se, or really waking up. And I didn't know if sleepwalking was the right word for it. What I did know was that I hated it. It was frightening, and it was dangerous. I rubbed my eyes tiredly. I didn't know what I should do. On one hand, if it was paranormal, I might need some help to figure out what to do about it. Who even handles this stuff? Are there cryptic doctors? I wasn't ready for that, whatever that might entail. I'd had people poking and prodding me before because of wandering off in the woods. I just didn't want to deal with that again. Ugh, why did this have to start happening right away? I didn't want it to be this way. I shivered as a little breeze kicked up. The tallest trees creaked eerily as they swayed against the sky. Letting out a long, shaky breath, I finally got to my feet. I should go back in. My feet were freezing. Well, the rest of me was freezing too, really. My pajamas weren't really made for midnight jaunts into the woods in late October. I was actually pretty sure they didn't make pajamas for that. Casting a final glance toward the trees, I headed back inside. Whether it was just sleepwalking or not, I couldn't help but wonder where my unconscious self was off to in such a hurry sometimes. Then again, maybe that was a question that I didn't want an answer to. I had a feeling that whatever I was doing, it wasn't going for a late-night pizza run. Okay, I wasn't locked out this time. I stepped into the kitchen and shut the door, latching the deadbolt. I turned to the stairs, planning to go crawl in bed and spend the rest of the night freaking out, but Spencer was staring me in the face. Of course you were. Spencer! Shoot, I said that way louder than I intended. Damn it! Why was he standing right behind me? And how did he manage to sneak up on me so silently? Was he a freaking ghost? I lowered my voice to a hiss. What are you doing? I was just about to ask you that. I was just getting fresh air. Outside. Is there another place to get fresh air? Open your window. Hey, don't criticize my need for the occasional relaxing scent of pine in the backyard. No point in lying about it this time. He came toward me, but I sidestepped toward the refrigerator, keeping the island between us. The look on his face just made me nervous. I knew I was in trouble this time. It didn't seem like he was going to believe the excuse I'd used last time. What if I really was just getting some fresh air? I know you walked out the backyard and toward the forest. I watched you do it. What? Okay. Be cool. Maybe he's bluffing. Though I really had done that, so he probably wasn't. I assume... I kind of feel like we deal with Spencer the same no matter what route we're on, for the most part. I don't think that changes. I think, like, you have, like, the main goal of having your love interest fall in love with you. Not dying to whatever the antagonist is of their route. And also not dying to Spencer most of the time. And I feel like Spencer just exists in his own little bubble outside everything else. So it's like, appease Spencer, figure out Spencer. Spencer's not really influenced by the guy so much. And just being direct with him has always worked in the past, so hopefully this works. Okay. Fine. You caught me. And... what? No answer for that, huh? Yeah, got you. If you tell Mom and Dad, I'll just deny it. You don't have proof. That freaking face. Maybe I recorded it. I rolled my eyes and crossed my arms over my chest. Now that was definitely a bluff. No, that actually might have happened. Give me a break. I know how bad the camera quality is on our phones. Even if you tried, it's too dark to catch anything incriminating. So you're not denying doing it? Why should I when you said you saw me doing it? I want to know what's going on. Tell me about it. What were you doing out there? I don't know. I was asleep. Spencer just looked at me dubiously. Well, at this point, it doesn't matter whether he believes me or not, I guess. You were sleepwalking. Well, that is typically what it's called when you walk around in your sleep, yes. But you... He stopped, tightening his jaw. Were you gonna tell her that you completely changed? You had white hair, girl. You just better be careful. I would love to be able to be careful. How can I be careful if I'm asleep? Maybe next time you see me sleepwalking my way outside, you could just wake me up instead of watching me like some sort of creeper. Oh, Mom! Hi! Oh, Mom in the bathroom! So cute. Nora? Spencer? Oops! Guess we were too loud. For once. I shot Spencer a scathing glare that he totally ignored. What are you two doing up? Her voice was thick and heavy with sleep. I heard shuffling in the other room as she apparently made her way to the kitchen. My eyes met Spencer's, and for just a split second, it felt like we at least tacitly agreed getting caught would be bad. He retreated upstairs before she could see that he was fully dressed. I got a glass from the cabinet and filled it with water so that when she popped her head in, it just seemed like I was downstairs being... normal. I like that your sibling bond activated in a time of crisis, like, Mom and Dad can never know. Hide the evidence quick. Without any conversation about it. Just like, go, go, go! Sorry, Mom. I came down for a glass of water and apparently woke Spencer up. He had to have a tantrum about it here in the kitchen. Mom rolled her eyes. You both have school tomorrow. Get back to bed. I know. But a girl's gotta be properly hydrated and all that. I punctuated the statement by taking a long drink from the glass. She just glared at me with sleepy eyes. Bed. Now. Hi, Captain. I gave her a little salute as she left. As soon as she was gone, I set the glass on the counter and sighed. Well, I guess I played that off as well as I could. I finally retreated back up to my room. As soon as I shut my bedroom door, I sank to the floor, gripping my head as my brain tried to wade through everything that had just happened. Shoot! He saw me doing it. What now? What if he really did tell Mom and Dad? They'd make me see a specialist, and there might be tests and sleep studies, and I had no idea how any of that would possibly go. What happened when a regular doctor did a CT on a fairy brain? I had no idea. I couldn't imagine it ending well. Well, I guess you better tell somebody then. Oh man, this sucks. The last time I'd been in the center of a weird incident, there had just been the media and rumors to deal with. This time there were agencies and cranky library wizards. I didn't want to deal with that. Any of it. I'd been down that road and it was just full of drama and frustration. I dragged myself to bed and wrapped myself into my blankets. I was so tired. but I didn't sleep for the rest of the night. I didn't know enough about any of this to know how to move forward. Not with the sleepwalking, and definitely not with Spencer apparently cluing in that something was going on. I was lying in bed, wide awake, staring at the ceiling when Mom called for me to wake up. I felt like a zombie. A zombie that was definitely not up for school, or dealing with people. A zombie that was contemplating the virtues of just eating her brother and being done with it. Yeah. Feeling gross and tired, I got up and started getting ready, because I doubted my mom would buy that I was sick even if I tried. When I went to brush my teeth and hair, I confirmed that I looked every bit the zombie that I felt. Ugh. I was going to have to do something about the sleepwalking, if only for the sake of my poor face. Those bags under my eyes are definitely not an accessory I need or want. Those smudges were really dark. I leaned in closer to rub at them, as if that would make it go away. What's a good remedy for that? Cucumber slices, use tea bags, specifically chamomile's really good. You could also use some concealer if you've got any concealer around. That might help. Yeah, there you go. Cucumbers, tea bags. If I didn't start sleeping better, I might need to stock up. And I didn't even like cucumbers or tea. You don't eat the cucumber. You just have the you just put the cucumber on. Girl. Just steal someone else's tea bag. I'm like, bloop. Go to Mark. Have Mark drink the tea. Put the tea bag on your eyes. Did it. As I sat on my bed long enough to pull on my boots, I contemplated my door and how to keep myself from going out it at night. There were only 3 exits to my room. The main door, the window, and the bathroom door. The only other exit from the bathroom was through Spencer's bedroom, and I'd not tried to go that way at night before. I wonder just how aware I really am during the episodes. Well, Rule doesn't like your brother very much, so... Just because I couldn't remember anything about them, it didn't necessarily mean I was completely oblivious to my surroundings while they were in progress. After all, I was able to navigate doors and stairs just fine. And I was smart enough, or lazy enough, to not try to walk through Spencer's room. That left 2 exits to worry about. If I wasn't keen on escaping through Spencer's room, I assumed I wouldn't try to go out the window. So I wonder if blocking the main door would help. Even if it didn't totally stop me from getting out, maybe having to deal with a barrier would stall me long enough that I'd wake up. But what could I use that Mom wouldn't pay attention to? Perhaps something my sleepwalking self would stumble over or get tripped up on. I rubbed my face tiredly. Man, I never thought I'd be sitting on my bed trying to come up with ways to outsmart myself. I was still preoccupied with those thoughts as I got the rest of my things together and started down the stairs. To my never-ending joy, I got to the kitchen in time to see the little brownie dragging Spencer's car keys toward the foyer. Oh, great. Part of me wanted to find a way to make it stop doing that, just because Spencer was blaming me for it, and that was really irritating. Alright. Irritating brownie be irritating. Let's see. An angered brownie usually makes its displeasure known by endless pranks around the house. From just making noise to stealing objects and generally being a nuisance, these pranks don't subside unless you can find a way to appease the brownie. The other part really wanted Spencer to have to suffer. He definitely deserved it. Well, I mean, I said that, but in the end, did he? Something happened to him 5 years ago. Something that resulted in him being partially blinded. And something that probably had to do with me being Fae, if I was being totally honest with myself. And now I was wandering around at night, which probably did look pretty weird. I joined a weird club at school as well. As frustrated as I was with him, there was a part of me that did understand how things must look from his angle. Even last night, he'd seemed totally taken aback by the idea I might be sleepwalking instead of, I don't know, doing something shady. Given our history, he probably had every reason to think I had evil secrets. I mean, the secrets I had weren't evil, but they were secrets. And how was he to know they weren't evil since they were, well, secret? I wish I could just tell him everything. That would make life so much easier for both of us. But there were rules. Stupid, vague rules that were apparently especially stringent because Faye were involved. I let out a long sigh as I heard his feet thundering down the stairs. He burst into the kitchen and our eyes met briefly before he went toward the foyer. Neither of us said a word. And I wondered if telling him everything really would make everything easier. It was nice to think that, but I couldn't really say how he'd handle the news that magic was real and his sister was a fairy. Probably not well. I hadn't handled it well, and I was way more reasonable than he was. I huffed another sigh as I poured myself a cup of coffee.
Good morning, honey.
I took a sip as I watched her come in and start getting her things together for work. Morning.
You look tired.
Yeah.
I feel like you haven't been sleeping well the past few days.
Yeah, not really. Too much going on, I guess.
I know it's probably been a big adjustment. New house, new school. Well, it's not new exactly, but even so, you have to catch up on everything you've missed so far. Oh, that's right. And you joined that club, didn't you? What was it again? Paranormal something?
Rules. Can't tell Mom. Can't tell Mom. Paranormal Mysteries Club.
Right. You know, I had no idea you were interested in that kind of thing.
If you'll remember, I told you the only reason I joined it is because Allie's in it, and they usually meet every day after school. Since I'm riding with her now, it made sense to join the same club so I have something to do while I wait for her.
Oh, that's right. How is Allie? She really needs to stop in and say hello sometime.
Maybe I'll have her come over some weekend. We don't really have time in the morning. I think we get to school right on time for her office duty.
That's a shame. I haven't seen her in so long.
I'm sure she'd like to come by and say hello. She's just busy right now. She also has a, part-time job.
Oh, really? How responsible of her.
I hope that's not a hint. We literally just got back.
Not at all.
Yeah, right. But Allie's internship with the agency was one of the reasons it was so hard to talk to her about the sleepwalking. I didn't want to dump something on her, not when I didn't even know if it was paranormal. And even if it was, she didn't need another thing to worry about. I promise I'll have her come by sometime soon. I'm going to go wait for Allie. I got my things and shot her a smile. Have a good day at work.
I'll try. You have a nice day too, okay?
I'll try to, at the very least, not have a terrible day.
Try to be optimistic.
Blech. The sound of her laughter followed me outside. I smiled in spite of myself. She was a good mom. Not perfect, but still a good mom. And she is the ultimate chipper, so I love her to pieces. I want to hear what she has to say about Sweet William. Ah yeah, speaking of shipping, I suddenly remembered William telling me that his mom had passed away, that he hadn't known her. I paused on the steps and dropped my things and ran back inside. Aw, that's sweet. Nora, my heart. And before Mom could say anything, I hugged her tightly. Thank you. She hugged me back gently.
Well, that's what I'm here for.
She released me and smiled.
Now perk up and have a great day.
I'll try. That was so sweet. I loved that. Snatching my stuff off the porch, I went to take up position by the fence where I normally waited for Allie. Her car wasn't in sight, so I pulled out my journal and quickly scrawled an account of what had happened last night before I forgot the details. At the very least, in addition to my researching, I wanted to be sure I kept track of all the weird stuff happening. I didn't know if it would come in handy, or if there was value in it, but it was also somewhat cathartic to keep a record of it all. Since no one could read the journal anyway, I might as well write it down. When I heard the sound of Allie's car coming, I quickly put the journal away. Yes, really good. Nobody else can read it, especially no one that lives in the same house as you. She pulled to a rolling stop, and I hopped in right away. We rode in silence for a few minutes.
You look tired.
Yeah. So I've heard. I feel like that's starting to become the official morning greeting when someone sees me.
Sorry, but you really do look pretty exhausted these days.
Maybe I need to start making use of some concealer to hide the circles. See, girl gets it.
You could just make an effort to get better rest.
That's not always something you can make an effort to do. I wasn't getting lousy sleep because I wanted to, after all.
Want to talk about it?
Well... Oh gosh, I have the option. I'm sorry. I don't care what the other... I don't care. And one of the other ones is like the right one. Talk about the sleepwalking girl. Maybe I should just tell her. But carefully. I didn't want to dump the whole thing on her just yet. I didn't want to worry her, and I definitely didn't want to kick up a fuss. I'd had enough of being the center of a fuss. Besides, if she didn't seem bothered by it, maybe it meant there was really nothing to worry about. I took a deep breath. Well, honestly, I've been sleepwalking some since we moved back, and it's kind of stressing me out. I made that sound so much less problematic than it actually is. For real. Allie looked at me curiously, her brow furrowed.
Sleepwalking?
Yeah, you know, like waking up outside my room and stuff.
Whoa, that's scary. Like, waking up where?
I hesitated. Maybe I just leave out that it was usually outside. For now. It's the sound of my soul leaving my body. Baby steps. Allie, you gotta bully it out of this girl. You know, like, I woke up standing in the kitchen once.
Whoa, weird. Have you told your mom?
No, I don't want to worry her. You know how she is.
Yeah, she'd probably take you to like 5 neurologists in one day.
Yeah.
I don't know a lot about sleep disorders, though. When did this start?
Well, it was right after we moved back here.
Maybe it's just stress.
I thought that too.
You don't look like you believe that.
I don't know what I believe about it. I just know that, well, Spencer caught me last night, and of course it was the end of the world because it clearly means I'm up to something.
What would you be up to while asleep?
That's what I said! But I kind of worry that maybe I was, like, talking about the club or something, or being a fairy. I don't know. I'm just worried.
Yeah, but if you're asleep, even if you were walking around talking about being a fairy, who would take that seriously?
Spencer.
Okay, fair point. But even if he jumped on that as some sort of evidence that something abnormal is going on, hearing you say something weird and assuming the worst is different than having irrefutable evidence something weird is going on. It's not like the sleepwalking is because you're Fae.
Of course not. I mean, probably, right?
I've never heard anything about a sleepwalking fairy.
Well, me either, but...
Look, even if Spencer caught you sprinkling fairy dust around the kitchen one night, I don't think he'd exactly go around telling people.
I know that, but... it would still be bad if he found out about all this, right? You told me I couldn't legally tell my family. If the sleepwalking is just making him more suspicious, that's still a problem. I worry about him snooping around to find out more.
He could follow you right up to the club room and never find out anything more than he knows right now. The club is enchanted. Even if he snoops, he isn't going to find anything.
I know that you've said that before, but I've never seen the protection aspect of that enchantment in action. The idea of him poking around just makes me nervous.
Well, it shouldn't. If, by some chance, the spell didn't work and Spencer saw something out of the ordinary, it would probably mean that he's the cryptic too. Then we'd just tell him the truth.
Don't say it like it's that simple.
Hey, I've been thinking we probably need to check in to see if he's a cryptic. I've told you that. I just haven't had time to look into it yet.
I know.
Look, you're overthinking this. Worst case, he snoops, he sees something, and Velos gets involved and makes him forget. Best case, he doesn't snoop at all. People sleepwalk all the time. Nothing paranormal about it.
At this point, with the way the conversation had gone, I didn't know how to tell her that I thought that maybe there was actually something paranormal about it. Maybe you should have mentioned that you went outside into the middle of the forest at night.
Yeah. Look, you're going through a lot. It's an adjustment, a sometimes stressful one. I know. But don't make it worse by worrying about things that may not even happen, okay? And I'll tell the others to keep an eye out for Spencer. If anyone sees him lurking around, they can just gently encourage him to stop.
Thanks.
And as for the sleepwalking, talk to someone if it gets worse. It may be stress, and it may go away. But if you do something crazy, like walk outside or something...
Yeah, that would be really crazy.
Or it starts happening more often. Don't be, well, you and keep it to yourself.
Hey, I can't not be me.
What I mean is that you sometimes struggle with asking for help. Don't do that. This is your health and well-being we're talking about.
I know. Easier said than done. Yeah, Allie, the only reason this girl said as much as she did is because I had an option to pick, okay? That's the only reason you know as much as you do.
I know you don't want to worry people, especially with...
My history of worrying people?
It's not going to be like that this time.
Yeah. Allie pulled into the parking lot and hopped out. Before going into the school, she leaned down and stuck her head in the car.
You sure you're going to be okay?
Yeah, I think so. Go inside before you're late. She slammed the door and waved as she headed into the building. How did you lock the car door if I was still in the... Never mind. A few minutes later, I was at my locker dropping some things off and grabbing a few books. I twisted my neck slightly, trying to work out the stiffness as I shut the door. Out of the corner of my eye, I caught a flash of movement down at the end of the hall. I turned that way automatically, expecting whatever it was to keep out of my line of sight like they usually did. To my surprise, instead of some unidentifiable wiggly shape, it was William? He was down at the far end of the hall with his back toward me. He was walking slowly, stopping every few minutes to check the floor in front of and behind him. What's he doing? From where I was, admittedly quite far away, the floor looked fine. But I had the strangest mental image of him following footprints or something. At least that's what it looked like to me. Weird. I kind of wanted to go see what he was doing, but I pulled my phone out and checked the time. Just a little over half an hour before class started. Should I waste precious research time or not? I mean, nothing's more precious than the sweet bean, so... let's make sure he's okay. I know we kind of left things rocky yesterday, but it might be kind of rude to follow, but I was a little worried. I'm getting Corvin flashbacks all of a sudden, like, wait. Should I be getting... It seems when ghosts are involved, always stick your nose in. My research wasn't going anywhere anyway. At the moment, it was just a frustration. And as the club newbie, my own past wasn't the only thing I wanted to learn more about. I wanted to know more about the club, the other members, everything. I was a part of all this now. I took a deep breath and followed after William quietly, ignoring the few other people in the hall, and the way the two of them were huddled together, watching him and whispering. The two of them? Though from an outsider's view, he probably did look pretty strange. I wasn't an outsider anymore, though. When I reached the spot where I'd first seen William, I checked all around just to be sure, but there was definitely nothing there that would have attracted attention. What was he doing then? I reached the end of the hall and turned left as he had done. He was still up ahead of me, but made another turn. I trailed after him curiously. When I rounded the next corner, it was a short hallway that dead-ended just up ahead. There was an exit at the end, and William was standing in front of it, still staring at the ground. He was mostly turned away from me, but I could barely see his face. He looked troubled. I crept toward him worriedly. William? He didn't start or act at all surprised to see me when I spoke, as if he'd known I was following.
Nora.
There was no doubt he was upset about something. I wasn't sure what to say. My instinct was to try to lighten the mood, but I wasn't sure it was the right time for that. Admiring the floor tiles? Well, if you're troubled, are you okay? Are you okay? I was pretty sure I knew the answer to that, and I was pretty sure it was no, at least based on the look on his face. But I didn't know what else to say. I mean, I saw you coming this way earlier, and I was worried. There was nothing in the hall that I could see. It was an empty dead end. But I knew firsthand that just because one person couldn't see it, didn't mean there wasn't anything there. And William definitely looked like he was seeing something very wrong. I took another step toward him, hoping he'd actually tell me what was going on.
I'm fine. It's just...
What is it? I honestly didn't want to pry, but it worried me to see how he was acting, and it worried me that there were things going on that I didn't know about.
Well...
He bit his lip as if still deciding what to say. He finally took a deep breath and looked directly at me.
There's a spirit that's usually by the front entrance, but it wasn't there today. I thought it was strange, so I started looking around and...
Is it dead? Has there been a ghost murder? He trailed off. Is it possible it just moved somewhere else?
Well...
I mean, I don't know anything about this. I guess you probably would have thought of that if that was the case. Stupid thing to say.
This one wouldn't have moved. I don't think it could. It's not that uncommon for them to get bound to a particular spot. This one has been in the same place since I started coming to school here.
So what do you think happened? If it didn't move, then why is he all the way over here?
Maybe you're right. Maybe it just moved.
That didn't make sense. He just said it wouldn't move away, and now he was suggesting it did? He was holding something back, and I didn't want to push further. If he wasn't telling me, maybe he was just still uncomfortable with me. Hey, I was going up to the club room. Want to come with me?
All right.
I was surprised he agreed so quickly, but he started away from the dead end, and I followed him. The stairwell was just around the corner. I don't know what to make of any of that. Neither of us spoke as we went up. The silence was so heavy. I wanted to say something, but I didn't know what. I wanted to ask more about what he'd been looking at, but I didn't think he was going to tell me. We reached the 4th floor hallway, and William stopped again, looking around the area. What's wrong? Is the one at the top of the stairs gone too? Oh no! Who's stealing all the ghosts?
She's gone.
Who is? I paused, realizing something felt off. Oh, the cold spot's gone. There had been a cold spot that was right at the top of the stairs. Normally it wouldn't be that weird that it was gone, but it was just always there. I kind of decided it was a ghost or something. I shot William a long look. He'd said she was gone. A second spirit that's gone missing? Ghost kidnapper?
She's...
He ran his hand over the wall, a worried look on his face. And again, I didn't see anything, but he definitely did.
I think she was killed.
We're really having a ghost murder story? What? That's great. A ghost was killed? What?
We should go to the club room. I'll explain there.
He walked quickly that way, and I followed behind him, glancing over my shoulder at the place where he'd touched the wall. What on earth was going on?